gonna send you back to Juniper Hill.
What?
Have you ever noticed how every town in the Stephen King story feels haunted? Not just by ghosts, but by the people it's broken? Derry is no different, but while everyone's eyes are locked on Pennywise, the true horror might not be lurking in the sewers. It might be hiding inside the walls of Juniper Hill Asylum. In it, Welcome to Derry. Episode 2 quietly brings this infamous location into the spotlight. And for longtime Stephen King fans, that single name is enough to send shivers down your spine. Juniper Hill isn't just another setting. It's a bridge, a living, breathing thread that ties together it, Welcome to Derry, and countless other nightmares across the King universe. And if you think Pennywise is the only evil feeding on fear, think again. Let's talk about why Juniper Hill Asylum is far more than just a psychiatric hospital, and how it could hold the key to unlocking the darkest mysteries in it. Welcome to Derry. When its Welcome to Derry premiered, most people were expecting pure clown terror, balloons, blood, and echoes of what came before. But what HBO quietly set up in episode 2 was something far more psychological, something that digs deep into the minds of Derry's people. We learned that Bainbridge, one of the show's central characters, has been admitted to Juniper Hill. Her descent into madness, or what looks like madness, begins after her father's death, when she starts seeing things no one else can see. Pennywise's influence, of course, is crawling into every corner of her mind. But what's terrifying isn't just the monster haunting her, it's the way her mother reacts. Instead of believing her, Lily's mother sends her back to Juniper Hill. That single act, that decision, captures something that has always defined Derry, a town so steeped in denial that it treats the truth as insanity. And that's exactly why Juniper Hill exists. It's where Derry sends the people who see too much. Now, if you're a longtime Stephen King fan, you know Juniper Hill didn't just show up for this series. This asylum has appeared before, again and again, across King's interconnected universe. In it, it's where Henry Bowers, the sadistic bully who tormented the Losers Club, was locked away after the horrors he committed as a teenager. But that's not where his story ended. Because Pennywise doesn't just hunt children, he hunts the broken. He finds the ones society hides away, and he turns them into weapons. In It, Chapter 2, we see Henry freed from Juniper Hill, his mind shredded by years of hallucinations, his soul puppeteered by Pennywise. That's the thing about this asylum. It doesn't cure madness, it breeds it. And now, in Welcome to Derry, Juniper Hill returns again, not just as a location, but as a symbol of what Derry really is, a town that punishes people for seeing the truth. But here's where things get really interesting. Juniper Hill isn't only part of its mythology, it's a recurring shadow across Stephen King's entire literary universe. This asylum shows up in the Tommyknockers, Gerald's Game, Needful Things, and Insomnia. Sometimes it's mentioned in passing, other times it's central to the story. But every time, it represents the same thing: society's attempt to lock away the supernatural by labeling it as madness. Think about that for a second. Every King story, no matter how strange, cosmic, or horrifying, always circles back to the same idea. What happens when ordinary people face something they're not supposed to understand? Some drink, some forget, some end up in Juniper Hill. So when we see Bainbridge trembling in her hospital bed, we're not just watching one girl lose her grip on reality. We're watching the entire mythology of Stephen King close in around her. Now, in Welcome to Derry, the asylum itself has been reimagined. It's not just a dark hallway full of screaming patients. The production design paints it as this cold, echoing labyrinth, white walls that never feel clean, flickering lights that make you question what's real. Every frame tells you something's wrong here. But it's not just the patients, it's the place. Juniper Hill feels alive. And maybe it is, because if we follow the rules of the Kingverse, Derry itself is a living organism, a town that feeds on trauma. The people trapped inside Juniper Hill aren't being helped, they're being silenced. The more they scream, the stronger Pennywise becomes. Could the asylum itself be another feeding ground for it? It's not impossible. In the novel, Pennywise's influence stretches far beyond the sewers. He infects institutions, churches, and even law enforcement. Derry is a system built to keep him hidden, and Juniper Hill is one of its pillars. So when Lily starts seeing Pennywise's illusions in the hospital, that's not random, it's deliberate. It's the monster reminding her, you're not safe anywhere. But here's where the timeline gets fascinating. If you map out the events between Welcome to Derry and the It movies, Juniper Hill becomes the connective tissue between generations. Lily's time in the asylum mirrors Henry Bowers' future there. Both characters are victims of Pennywise, both labeled as insane for seeing him, and both manipulated from within those walls. What if Juniper Hill isn't just a hospital, but a sort of psychic trap? A place where Pennywise's victims are contained until he needs them again. That theory might sound wild, but think about it. In It Chapter 2, Pennywise doesn't physically break Henry out. He manifests as an illusion in the form of Patrick Hockstetter's corpse, guiding Henry to escape. That means Pennywise's energy can reach into Juniper Hill, can whisper, manipulate, and even control from inside. So what if Pennywise's presence has always been tethered to that place? What if Juniper Hill is where the barrier between Derry's physical and supernatural world is thinnest? That would explain why Lily's hallucinations grow stronger there, why the doctors seem indifferent, why the screams echo down empty corridors that no one ever investigates. Juniper Hill isn't a hospital. It's a gateway. Let's take this a step further, because HBO's Welcome to Derry is clearly laying breadcrumbs for something bigger. If the show is building toward the rise of Pennywise, Juniper Hill might become the origin point for understanding how fear spreads. We know that. It feeds on fear like it's oxygen, but fear has to come from somewhere. It's cultivated, shaped, and magnified. Juniper Hill is the perfect farm for it. Think about all the people inside. Traumatized, terrified, silenced. Their fear lingers in the air, thick and tangible. That's the perfect environment for Pennywise to grow stronger before he resurfaces. So when Operation Precept is mentioned, the mysterious project hinted at in the show, could it be tied to the asylum? Could it be an experiment in harnessing that energy? What if the government or some local authority discovered Pennywise long ago and decided to study him rather than stop him? The possibilities are endless and terrifying. Another subtle layer to this is how Welcome to Derry uses Juniper Hill to comment on mental health and trauma. Stephen King has always used horror as a metaphor. And here, the asylum isn't just a scary place. It's a reflection of how society treats people who survive trauma. Lily's story isn't just supernatural, it's deeply human. She's a girl screaming for help, surrounded by people who refuse to believe her because it's easier to call her crazy than admit the truth. That's the same pattern that allowed Pennywise to thrive for centuries. Every time someone tries to expose the evil, they're labeled unstable. Every time someone sees the truth, they're institutionalized. And every time Derry forgets, Pennywise wakes up again. Juniper Hill, then, is more than just a setting. It's a metaphor for denial, a monument to the way Derry keeps its secrets buried. End of Welcome to Derry Episode 2, the asylum becomes the emotional center of the story. The camera lingers on its iron gates, the fog curling around its edges like a living thing. Inside, Lily stares into the darkness, hearing whispers only she can hear. Maybe they're hallucinations, or maybe it's Pennywise, preparing his next move. What's chilling is that we don't need to see the clown to feel his presence. The fear inside Juniper Hill is Pennywise. The walls hum with his energy, the doctors speak in his silence, and every scream that goes unheard adds another brick to his kingdom of fear. And if we zoom out, Juniper Hill's reappearance signals something massive for the future of the show. In the movies, Derry's cycle of violence repeats every 27 years. But Welcome to Derry might be showing us how that cycle begins. The asylum could be the first seed, the testing ground where Pennywise learns to manipulate human minds long before he emerges from the sewers. Maybe he doesn't just feed on fear. Maybe he studies it. Lily Bainbridge's hallucinations, her commitment, her isolation, all of it could be part of Pennywise's experiment to understand how fear spreads like a virus. And if that's true, then Juniper Hill isn't just a hospital. It's ground zero. So the next time Welcome to Derry cuts to those gray walls or echoes those haunting screams from the asylum halls, remember, it's not just background noise. It's history repeating. It's Stephen King's entire multiverse whispering through the cracks. Because Juniper Hill isn't just a building, it's a graveyard for the forgotten, a feeding ground for the unholy, and maybe, just maybe, the birthplace of Pennywise's power.